Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am here today with a friend of mine. This is Luca. Luca,
Hi.
say hello.
Hello.
So what I thought I would do is to do a tutorial with Luca. We spoke briefly before getting started here. And your makeup experience level, how would you describe it?
Very low.
Very,
Not
very
great
low.
with makeup. Have watched very little tutorials, so I'm really excited to learn today.
And when you do your makeup, what do you do? What kind of look do you go for?
More natural. Like I'm not trying to wear too much makeup, but also I'm getting older, so I like trying newer, bolder looks. I think when I was younger, I didn't want to wear too much makeup in school, so it's exciting getting older and trying like cat eyes or something bolder.
So you're actually getting more adventurous as you grow more mature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because usually it's the reverse. And a lot of times women have a very difficult time trying to step back, from your routine because we grow up, our first experience with makeup a lot of times is when we're in our late teens. So
Middle school, just piling on the makeup.
yeah, middle
taking it
school.
off.
Yeah, I'm sneaking it all to school and putting it on so mom and dad don't like rip your head
Kill
off.
me.
But so one thing that I always address, especially when I'm working one-on-one with a client or someone like yourself who's just doing me a favor, come in, let's create some content. I like to get a good understanding of what your regimen is. And we've already discussed that a little bit. My point about the first time wearing makeup, a lot of times we go to a makeup counter and you're 18 and the foundation that they pick out for your skin, it's great for 18-year-old skin, but then as we age, a lot of us stick with the same products that we were introduced to at an earlier age. And when your skin changes, your products should change. And to back up a little bit before you even get into makeup, I think you have to really adopt a good skincare routine. So that's something you should start as early as possible, and you should maintain a good skincare routine throughout the rest of your life. Especially if you're wearing makeup, a good skincare routine is going to help, just make your skin very prepped, always prepped, like ready to go when it comes to makeup.
Yeah, my skincare has always been difficult, and so learning to like cover up blemishes was a large part of my teens and my early 20s.
Yep. There's a whole nother tutorial there we can do. But yeah, for that, you use color correctors and all that good stuff. Today, I'm going to keep it simple for you. I prepped your skin. You came to me already with some foundation on, and then I used my highlight and contour palette just to brighten up underneath your eyes and certain areas of the face. And I decked out her brows. Her brows are beautiful. Nice, not too thick, not too thin. Brows are very specific to the person, and I tried to design a brow based on your eye shape. So I think I have the perfect brow for you based on, the points of your eye. So another tutorial. Check in often for those. So what I want to do now is I want to just jump right into my Luxe Light palette. The Luxe Light palette is my Nudes Natural palette. So this is going to be like your go-to. And then although you said you're ready for a more adventurous kind of experimentation with makeup, although this is nudes and naturals, you can definitely up the ante a little bit with some of the darker shades here. I do have a couple other palettes as well as with the process goes. If you feel like you want to be a little more adventurous, we'll just grab one of the other palettes and we'll pop in one of those colors. Now, I think because Luca is not all that experienced with makeup, what I would like to do, with your permission, is I'll kind of take you through it step by step as I build the eye, and I'll challenge you by having you mimic my application on the other eye. And I'm right here, so you're not gonna. There are no. Rumi likes the idea. So there are no mistakes. We're just going to kind of work through it, and hopefully when you walk away from this today, you'll have a little bit of know-how to take with you. In preparation for eyeshadow, you want to use either an eye primer. I used a concealer. I have a really great 16-hour concealer which does exactly that. It'll conceal and it acts as a primer, so it's really going to hold your shadows in place. But there are definitely eye primers out there that you can use and work well for a long wear when it comes to makeup, and it'll help to prevent creasing. So we're already set with
Below
that.
and above the eye?
Right on your lid. So underneath the eye, if you're using the concealer, most definitely. You can use the concealer underneath the eye and on the eyelid. If you're using an eyeshadow primer, you want to keep that just to the eyelid because that's what it's made for specifically.
Okay.
And a lot of times eye primers are much brighter, so you don't really want to use something too white under your eye area. The lightest shade here is called Halo Glow. And this is going to be like a base. So this is going to be the easiest application for you ever. It's just a very light, kind of a bone shade. And that's going to go on the entire eyelid from the inner corner of the eye. I'm going to take it up underneath the brow, all the way to the end of the brow, and then right across the eyelid. So we're literally coating the entire upper eye area with this nice bone shade. So go ahead and take a look. Let me show you there.
I definitely see the difference, actually.
And it's a subtle difference, but it's an important first step.
Yeah, right up here.
Okay, so now I'm going to load the brush. You can watch how I load the brush. So when I'm loading the brush, I literally just kind of pat the brush onto the shadow rather than, you know, working
That's
it
what I
around.
do.
Yeah, do you? You kind of
Yeah.
go back and forth. That's fine too, but I did that the first time, and I don't know if you can see it here, but your shadow just kind of starts to disintegrate and you lose a lot of it. So if you tap the brush to your shadow this way, it's going to save you on wasting product.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to hand you the brush, and all I did, watch in there, all I did here was I just started on the inner corner, and then I just kind of using circles, I worked my way all the way across the brow. Very good. And this is the best and easiest step to teach someone because it doesn't involve a ton of precision. This is just about coating the entire upper eye area with your base shape. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah? Matchy matchy?
I think so.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah.
So for the next step, I'm going to use Soft Light Diva. It's a really nice muted, it's a matte shade, but it's a muted rose. And for that application, I'm using a blending brush.
What's the difference between the first brush you used and the blending brush?
They're exactly the same brush.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used a blending brush. There is a brush called an all-over eye brush, which is more of a paddle brush, but a blending brush is great when you're trying to cover the entire eye area.
The lid part?
Yeah,
And-
lid, and we went all the way up to under the brow.
Okay.
So this, we're going to use the same brush, but for this application, and you might want to kind of watch along. So I'm going to actually add this in your crease. And if you open your eye real quick, like really open it up. Here, hold this. You can see your natural crease in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now lower the mirror and just keep your eye on that area. That's where I'm going to apply this transition shade. And I'm just following your natural bone structure there to carve out the crease of your eye. I'm going to dip back into the palette to get a little more product on it. So again, Soft Light Diva. And you're going to see a very subtle build of eyeshadow happening.
But it does make a
Subtle
difference
build of
with
color.
every layer
It
when
does.
I'm watching the two.
Watching it evolve, right? So there's like this windshield wiper kind of action that's happening. Do you feel that? And that's all you're going to do when I pass you the brush to do the other side. The key here, though, I'm going to do that one more time. The key is to keep the tip of your brush in the crease. So you want to try not to get too high up on the brow bone, and don't worry about getting too much on the lid.
Okay.
Okay? You think you could do that? I think you can.
Let's see.
There you go. And I can hold the mirror for you. And just going back and forth it seems crazy to be repetitive, but
Right.
that's the process.
I'm going a lot slower than you did.
No, go ahead. Take your time. And just stay in your crease, right in there. Yep. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Perfect. And you want to touch in there a little bit more, just give it one more pass, this one there. There we go. See how it's building? It's very subtle, but you can definitely see the build.
Mm-hmm.
So these lighter, softer shades tend to take the anxiety, especially for somebody who is just learning. Oh, she's going for more. Especially for someone who's just learning makeup application, this kind of takes the anxiety out of it all, you know, because you're approaching it more on a soft, you know, from a soft angle, making sure that your eyes look beautiful. You're just kind of making sure that you're building it up gently, and then as you get more accustomed and familiar with brushes and application, then you can just up the ante with your color.
Bigger, bolder.
Exactly. We're going to do another shade. So that's your first transition shade. And so we're going to go step down to Mood Light. And you can see how that's a little bit deeper. So the first one, like I said, has a little rose. This one's a little bit more mauve-y or mauvey, however you like to say mauve. Mauve.
Tomato, tomato.
And I am using an eye contour brush. You can see how that brush is angled slightly. You see that? Okay, so now the key to this is the tip here that you see, the highest point of the brush. That's the part that I'm going to dip into Mood Light. And you can see how I'm just like, mostly with the tip of the brush.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna tap the brush. That helps get any excess off the brush. I tap with my finger and I try not to ever tap my brush on the edge of a table because that's gonna ruin your brush. So just tapping the excess out is gonna prevent that from falling underneath the eye area. All right, tuck your hair back one more time. So I'm gonna use the tip of that brush and go ahead and watch one more time while I'm applying. So the tip of the brush, and this is gonna give me a little more precision as I apply to the crease of the eye. And now I'm not gonna go all the way across with this shade. I'm gonna stop about halfway across the crease. Does that make sense?
And why is that? What effect? Just to make the eye look...
So now what I'm trying to do
brighter?
is I'm trying to work on pulling the depth. So when you're doing your eyeshadow, it's all about basically highlighting and contouring your eyelids. So we have a nice highlight happening on the lid. If you look at that, you can see it's nice and bright. And that first transition shade is more of a medium tone. So that's gonna go all the way across the crease of the eye. And now with the deeper shade, I'm just creating more depth on the outer corner of the eye. So I don't want this to go all the way across. Otherwise, it's going to start to frame your eyelid, and I don't want to do that. I actually want to make your eye look even larger, and we do that by contouring using shadow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kinda? All right, take a look just quickly. And I'm gonna dip in one more time. Go ahead and continue to look so you can see. I'm gonna follow the same exact process. I'm using the tip of the contour brush. It's the eye contour.
Again, it's like the windshield wiper
Yep.
motion.
And I am creating a little bit of a V towards the outer corner of the eye. And that's just kind of like an afterthought. So you wanna concentrate first on getting your color in there first, from the outer corner about halfway across,
And then take it across.
and then kind of create your little V shape there in the outer corner of the eye. You follow? All right.
It's really subtle. And
Okay. Just take a deep breath. Don't worry, you're gonna do fine. All right.
oh,
Shall I? Yeah, there you go. There you go. I can hold the mirror for you if it helps. About halfway across. And just keep repeating windshield wiper back and forth.
not yet to the bottom.
Give it a couple more passes in the crease before you do the outer corner. And let's load the brush just a little bit more one more time.
No? Do you blow?
You shouldn't blow on your brush, but you know, you're doing your
like
own
I'm taking
makeup.
all my bad habits away.
You're doing your own makeup. So as an artist, if I was hired for a job or if I'm working with a client like at Bloomingdale's or something,
right.
I would never blow on the brush. But when you're working on yourself, it's okay. I just try to like break that habit and get you to, you know, tap your brush to get rid of that.
A little dab.
Perfect. You're doing an excellent job. I'm serious. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So when you do your outer corner, just let me borrow the brush for just a second. Keep looking. Just be a little more gentle with that. You don't have to come across too far. Okay. It's really just about kind of creating like a little V shape there. Just go over that so you get the hang of it. Now do your little corner V. There you go. All right. Now flirt with the camera so everyone can see how great you did.
Does it match?
Put that back down. Let's see. I think we're matching just fine.
Okay.
So the next step, I'm going to go into Glimmer Lust. It's a little bit of a shimmer. This one here. It does have a little bit of a mauve tone to it, so it's going to be a nice complement to the two shades that we just added. Now for this, I'm going to have you look. Watch. I'm going to bring this does have a little shimmer to it, so I'm going to start in the outer corner of the eye, and I'm just going to kind of let the bristles flick the color over towards the middle of the eyelid. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Easy enough? You want to see that one more time?
I think I can try.
All right. Here, I'll let you dip in there. So Glimmer Lust is this one here.
Nice and sparkly.
Yep. And get the tip again, remember? Just the tip. There we go. Yep. Doing well, doing well. Now you're going to twist the brush this way, and you're just going to kind of let the tip of the brush flick across. So you're going to start here and just flick it across that way. Little more gentle.
Yeah, that's one thing
There we go.
I'm really excited to be learning is I think when I do my makeup I'm a little rougher with myself, so
You go crazy with it. Like,
yeah.
I don't have enough time. I got to get this on, get out of the house.
Rub it on and leave. So I think this is very therapeutic to take the time.
I was just going to say that for a lot of people who do makeup, I hear time and time again that people find it very therapeutic, you know, their makeup time. If you can kind of really set aside time for yourself, quiet time, or maybe you want to listen to the radio, but just take a moment for yourself in the morning when you're getting ready. It'll just kind of help prep you for your day, puts you in a nice mindset.
Treat yourself
if
right.
you're trying to rush to get your makeup done and get out of the house, that's how you're starting your day off. So
which is me every morning.
practice makes perfect, right? All right, so you're doing an excellent job.
Thank
You feeling good about it?
I have a good teacher.
Oh, thanks. Do you think these steps so far, like you've got it in your mind, something that you can duplicate yourself or
I think
replicate?
so. I think I need to set more time aside in the morning now.
It is key to just give yourself a few minutes, like just give yourself like 5, 10, 15. It depends on how long it's going to take you. In the beginning, when you're trying out new technique, new eye applications, it's going to take you longer, obviously. But the look that we're creating will probably take you less than 10 minutes once you get it down.
Okay.
And it'll come quick, so don't think like, okay, in a year that's going to happen. Okay, so the next step now, we're going to give some love to the inner corner of the eye, and we're going to use another shimmer shade. This one is Lustrous. It's just below the first shade we use. And you can see, again, I'm just kind of patting my brush onto the powder, and then I'm just going to tap away any of the excess there.
Okay.
And this is a very simple application. Go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to start on the inner corner of the eye, and I'm patting. Do you feel how I'm, rather than sweeping it across, I'm patting the color? And that's just going to prevent any kind of fallout, so the shadow from falling below your eye. And it's also going to maximize the shimmer effect. Because if I'm brushing the shimmer onto the eye, you're going to be literally brushing the shimmer off the eye. So you want to pat it. Do one more pass. Okay, take a look.
So pretty.
And I'm going to hand you the brush. Now this is the small shadow brush again. It's a flat paddle, small, so you can have a little more precision about it. Yep.
I pat here and I pat on my eye.
Correct. It's an important step. You want to get rid of any of that excess powder in the brush. Just,
know why
just
I'm, like,
press
leaning
it.
into it.
Yeah, it's okay. Just press it right onto your. There you go. That's patting.
Ah.
Aha.
Aha.
All right, I'm gonna hold the palette for you so you can get a little more. And just press it. Yep. You're good, you're good. Press it right on. Just like, there you go. She wants more.
I
All
like
right,
sparkles.
take it easy, sugar.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so now look at your eyes. If you wanted to just stop there and move to mascara, a little bit of eyeliner, you have a really great eye that's achievable as an everyday eye look. But as you mentioned, you want something a little bit more dramatic, for lack of a better word. So we're gonna
eye-catching.
build the eye up for you a little bit.
Okay.
And to do that, we're gonna go into one of the darker shades. So there's two shades. There is Coco Roco, and gosh, I can't even read, Monumental. So we'll use one of those two shades. Which one do you, here, let me swatch them for you on the back of my hand. All right, I still have some of your brows on my hand. So that is Monumental.
Okay.
And then the top one, it's the one at the end of the palette. This is Coco Roco, so I'll go there.
Ooh.
So one's more plum.
I kind of like Monumental because it has a little more shimmer in it.
This one here.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. And then for this application, we are going to use a smaller, rounded brush. I'm looking. Where is it? Oh, I moved it down here. I was already prepped for it. So this little kind of pencil brush, it's like a domed with a slight point to it.
That one has the most point out of all the other.
Right, and
brushes we've used so
touch
far.
the top of that brush. So it's stiffer. So it's literally going to help me make sure that wherever I place the color, it's going to stay within that area.
Okay.
Those fluffier brushes, they're meant to distribute and feather the edges. So you want something that's going to give you a little bit more placement, direct placement. All right, there we go. There's always a little excess in your brush, as you can see. So you want to make sure that that's an important step you follow. And go ahead, you could watch. I think it's, you can have your eye open as I do this. So I'm just going to, little circles, and you can see how that's falling below there. It's okay. We're not going to stress out about it. I'll come back and I'll just sweep that away in a second. So I'm really kind of focusing more in the corner, and then I will just gently pull it across the lash line ever so slightly, and then a little bit into the crease.
Very similar to what we did before.
Correct, yeah.
But now with a darker color.
Yes. And so that little bit of fallout there, I'm gonna just take a clean brush.
Uh-huh.
And to make sure it's clean, you can always, take your brush on a tissue, make sure nothing comes out, then you're fine to go. So rather than, rubbing it in, obviously we want to kind of just do a quick sweeping motion to get rid of it. And then we'll come back under after we're done with a little concealer just to clean up underneath the eye.
Is this sort of inevitable, or is it based on face shape or amount of makeup on the brush?
I could have probably tapped my brush a little bit more to get that excess out. What I'm going to do for you, though, on the other side.
A lot, so maybe.
So what we're going to do, this is a good teaching moment, because I could have, should have done it, but, you know,
Learning.
in hindsight, everything is better, right? So I'm taking my highlight and contour palette. There is a translucent powder here. And I'm literally kind of causing the powder to become loose. So what I'm going to do there is, before I hand you the dark shade, we're just going to put that underneath your eye. And so this is going to catch any dark or any fallout, whether it's dark eyeshadow or light eyeshadow, it will catch the fallout. And at the end, since this is a translucent powder, we'll just sweep it all away. And unlike this side, so on this side, the powder that I put on clinged to your skin, I'll clean that up for you, but that's not going to happen on this side. So that was a good little teaching moment. We're just going to roll with it. Okay. So
It does happen to me a lot because I do love glitter, and I feel like glitter is all over my face.
Okay,
when
so
I put glitter on.
when you're doing your eyeshadow, do what I just taught you. Do that first. So that's going to be your first application, loose, translucent powder underneath your eye, and then you go onto your eye application. My bad for not teaching you that the first time, but
I
it's
know.
good.
The more you know.
And now I can teach everyone how to clean it up. Yep. Okay, now really make sure that you get as much out of that as possible. You're going to work mostly right in the corner of the eye. Set it right into the corner first. And just little small circular motions.
Really in the crease.
Right in the corner in the crease, yep. And then you're just going to gently bring it, let me see. That's about as far as I would go in the crease, but go ahead and go back and forth with it. You can do a little windshield wiper action after you have that color deposited in the corner. Yes, you're doing well. You're doing well. Yep, good job. Okay, take a moment, look at yourself directly. The little loose powder is going to throw you off a little bit, but just try to see beyond that.
Looks a little different, but yeah. I guess that's part of it, is trying to make the eyes match when you're doing
And let me see. Okay, take a look one more time. So the only difference is that this is coming down a little bit lower, so you want to keep it, really keep it in the crease. Like, let it ride up onto the brow bone ever so slightly. And that minor adjustment brings you closer to what I did on my side.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you say we add a little bit of Coco Roco in there?
Let's do it.
I like it because it has a little bit more color to it. Right now we're sticking towards the browns and beiges, the earth tones. This is still an earth tone, but it's a little warmer.
Right.
And for that, I'm gonna go back to, you know what, let's go back to our blending brush. So it's a larger brush head, looser, so that means it's gonna feather the color as we apply it. Just the tip of the brush is what we're getting product onto.
Okay.
So there's not a ton in the brush. We can always add more to the brush. So go ahead and take a look so you can see. Again, in the corner. And I'm really just staying right in the corner.
Very gentle.
Really delicate touch. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the brush. I'm gonna go over that one more time. So I'm patting it, and then I'm using little circular motions to blend it out. That's kind of upping the drama level for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the motions real quick so you can have memory of what I did. So you're gonna put it right in the corner, just kind of pat the color.
Gentle.
And once it's kind of deposited onto the skin, then you use just a small circular motion, and you're staying underneath the crease of the eye. And just on the outer like third of the eyelid. And there you are. You got this, don't worry. Pat it in there, kind of press it in. Then a small circular motion just to kind of feather it out a little bit. Okay, step away, take a look at it. All right, let's do a little more color. Cocoa Roca right there.
Loco for the cocoa.
Loco. That's a whole other video.
So now that it's there, I can go a little bit pressing harder.
Yep, yep. So you're just building it up. You know, I think that's the best approach when you're starting to use deeper shades and you're not used to them. Just layer them until you get the payoff that you want. All right, and then turn to me real quick. See that, how it fell underneath your eye?
Yes.
And that
So
powder is going to really help to save a little bit of work that it's going to take to get that fallout off. So at this stage, let's go ahead and sweep away what's under your eye. So go ahead and take just look up. There we go. Okay, take a look. There's still a little bit of the loose powder that you can see, the whiteness of it, but do you see how that just like swept right away?
Yeah.
So now with
That's
the
so
same
easy.
brush, you're just gonna work the brush back and forth to blend that powder in. Okay, take a look again.
Oh my gosh. that
And
is
as
so
your body
easy.
starts to warm up, that little sheer bit of white that you see from the translucent powder, it's just going to disappear. So now my side is a whole different story because I didn't use loose powder. So now we have a little bit of color clinging on to your under eye area that I'm going to have to use a little concealer to help get rid of it for
I'm
us.
kind of glad you showed me the difference because that was so easy compared to what we're
It's
going
a
to do.
huge difference, and you will not struggle with getting rid of, you know, whatever might have fallen there. So I'm going back to my highlight and contour palette. I'm using the lightest shade as my concealer. This is a concealer brush. Concealer brushes are synthetic, and the reason they're synthetic is so they can be used on creams and liquids. If I was using a natural hair brush, the natural hair would absorb whatever product I'm using. So this is the reason why we use a synthetic brush. So before I try to clean that up, I'm going to use a clean blending brush. So this blending brush, make sure it's clean. I usually flick the bristles just to see if any powder flies out. I think we're good to go. I'm going to first use that to get rid of as much of that fallout as possible. And now I'm switching to my concealer brush. Just being very gentle about cleaning it up. Go ahead and open your eyes for me. There we go. I want to get.
There's literally no better feeling than having your makeup done or your hair brushed. Just having someone.
Isn't it nice to just have,
Yeah.
get pampered? We all love getting pampered.
It also is really nice to pamper myself because usually, as I said, I'm kind of just throwing things on, but it was really lovely to gently stroke myself and
Yeah,
be
just kind of
gentle on my own
slow down, allow yourself, you know, we pay people to pamper us, and very seldom do we ever pamper ourselves. So there are moments in our daily life where we can really kind of just hone in to, you know, settling the mind and just taking a moment to ourselves to give ourselves a little bit of love. And it really does set the stage for the rest of your day, especially when you're doing your makeup in the morning. So I'm vibing with you. I love it. Take a look at both sides.
Yay.
So I did a fairly good job, if I do say so myself, cleaning up on this side.
Yeah, it's back to normal.
And just so we have matchy-matchy, I'm going to use a little bit of the same concealer underneath your other side. Otherwise, it might look a little brighter on this side. Don't really need a lot. And I use my finger to kind of warm it up and to work it into the skin. That's the only reason I'm using my finger to pat the concealer in. Okay, go ahead and take a look. How are you feeling? Pretty good?
Really good.
Okay, so now that we've cleaned up the under eye area, as kind of crazy as it sounds, we're gonna add shadow to your lower lash line, right underneath the eyelashes.
Okay. Do
So-
you like to do, sorry, upper eye first and then move down to lower, or does it
Yeah,
not matter?
so this way, whatever we clean from underneath, we're not gonna take the actual application on the lower lash line away with it. So we apply to the upper lid first, and then we clean up underneath the lower lash line, and then you carefully apply your color to the lower lash line. So I'm gonna use Glimmer Lust. That was one of the shades that we used on your eyelid. And yeah, just hold the mirror up a little bit more. There we go. And I'm using an angled liner brush. Very simple.
Yeah. So subtle.
All right. And then I'll hand the brush to you in a second, and you can do the other side. And I'm starting at the outer corner of the eye, and I'm working myself about a third of the way across. Let's go halfway.
Kind of where my
Let's go
natural
halfway.
eyelash
Correct.
is.
Correct. Like where it starts to taper off. Yep. Do you think you could do what I just showed you
I think
along
so.
the lower lash line? Okay,
Yes.
so I'm gonna pass you the brush. I didn't show it to the camera first, so just hold that up so everyone can see. This is an angled eyeliner brush. It's synthetic, but a very soft tip. We're gonna use Glimmer Lust. Go ahead.
Am I dabbing or rubbing this one?
You're kind of just the way you're doing now. So you're pressing it into the powder. The brush is stiffer, so it's gonna feel like you're actually making more of a dent in the shadow.
I have like such a mirror face when I do makeup. You know how girls like.
Yeah, it always helps to like keep your mouth open while you're doing it,
Yeah.
and that's all right. Don't worry about it. Everyone has been there. Take a little bit more time, go slower, because I see that you're...
Definitely just put it in
Yep,
my eye.
Yep. Okay, place the brush on your skin first, and then just gently work it across, and just do a gentle sweeping motion across. And do the same thing each time. Do you feel that? Very nice. Now you're pampering yourself.
Well, I learned
Okay.
my hand-eye coordination is on the lower side.
Let's dip into that one more time just to give us a little bit more saturation. Just take your time with it. Set the brush down and then just gently bring it across the lash line. Perfect. Yeah?
Yeah.
Very good. It's as hard as that gets. And now we're going to use the darker shade, so Coco Roco, using the same brush. And it's okay that we just used it from a different color because Coco Roco is a little deeper. So I'm going to use that deeper shade. And we're going to follow the same action, but I'm not going to go as far across the lower lash line this time. So you might want to hold up just a little bit higher so your eyelid stays open for me. Starting at the same point, the farthest outside portion of the lower lash line. And we're only going to go about a third of the way this time. This way we get a gradation from dark to light. Now we're starting to mimic what you see on the upper eyelid. Does that make sense?
We'll see if it made sense when I try.
One more time. And I am getting a little fallout because I didn't tap my brush out, but that's okay. And I am coming a little bit lower here, so you see that smoky effect. and only about 1/3 of the way. So really kind of control how far across you're bringing this color.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna hand you the brush. Let's just flick out any excess there. All right, hand you the brush. And Cocoa Roco's the top shade. Yep. You're gonna place the brush in the corner of your eye and then just gently bring it over about 1/3 of the way across the lower lash line. You're doing okay. Perfect. Perfect. And you see how it kind of connects to the darker shade in the upper, like on your upper lid? See
Yeah,
how
it
it's starting
kinda
to
comes
kind of
down.
like, yes. Now, how familiar are you with one of these?
I love lash curlers.
All
I don't think I
right.
use them correctly. So
All right, so at least you're
let's see.
familiar.
Yeah. Every time I do them, my sister's like, "Oh my gosh, you're really going for it."
I love the way, you know, there's such a contraption, like old school. I love that about it. I don't know. It's, I'm a little twisted, in case you haven't noticed. But anyway, so the way to go about curling your lashes is I'm going to have you just kind of look down. You're not going to close. I'm going to place my thumb underneath your brow, and I'm just going to lift. So I have control. So even if you want to blink, you can. You don't have to worry about it. And this is just going to help me put the lash curler right across your lashes. Now, before I squeeze, I'm going to ask, do you feel any pinching?
No.
Okay, so I'm not going to use a death grip to curl your lashes. I'm just going to do a gentle pressing about 4 or 5 times. And then I'm going to lift, open the lash curler, and move it forward about halfway up your lash. No pinching?
No.
Okay. Press about 4 times. And one more time, I'm going to open up and I'm going to get even further out to the tips of your lash. Any pinching? Nope.
No.
All right. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the whole reason I did that is that starting your curling action at the base of your lash starts the action of your lash being curled. So moving it forward to the middle of the lash helps it start to curl even more. It gives you more of a natural curl.
Okay.
If you're only curling towards the base of the lash, you're going to get almost a crimped lash that goes straight up. And so we're looking for a more natural curvature. And that's why you start at the base, press 4 times, 4 or 5 times, and then move the curler up to the middle of the lash, same action. So you're 3 positions: the base, the middle, and the tips of the lash. That's what you're curling.
See, I go way too hard. I think I need to.
Yeah, you don't want to crimp the lash. So just use gentle pressure and just bounce it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then move the curler forward a little bit, about halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then as close to the tips as you can get. Look at that.
So much more gentle than I usually do it on myself.
Let me take that from you. I'll put that over here in my cup. And then we'll just coat your lashes with some mascara. I'm working on developing a new mascara, and that's what I'm going to use today.
New secret serum.
Yeah,
formula.
secret serum. It's got a
Top
really
secret.
beautiful, like, fluffy brush, which is going to help to coat the lashes and really give us a lot of separation. Now you can see how when I'm applying mascara, I'll go like the more traditional way where I hold the brush horizontally. But you'll also see that I tend to turn the brush to get a little bit more precision and more coating in certain areas. So again, just take your time with it. I'm going to do one more application.
I noticed too you're not going to the base of the lash, which is
I
something
didn't yet. So what I
Okay.
did for the first time, I was trying to mostly capture any of the fallout from the shadow that might have landed on your lashes. So that's the first coat. And then now for the second coat, I'm really going to get as close to the base as possible, and I'm going to wiggle it back and forth at the base. The closer you can get to the base, the more full your lashes are going to look. Okay, take a look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really full.
And if you want, you can just do a second pass, a third pass. You can really build it up. It all depends on what kind of lash look you are aiming for. So with your mascara component, one of the first things that I want you to pay attention to, when you take the mascara out of the tube, there's usually like this little dollop of mascara that you see on the tip. Do you see that?
Yes.
Put that back into the jar. So just kind of get rid of any excess so that doesn't make a mess. And now you're ready to rock. Shall I hold this for you?
Mm-hmm. So I'm doing the outside first, the tips.
Yep, yep.
I like your technique.
It helps, right? Okay, so that coat is looking really nice. Let's do one more coat. But to do that, go ahead and take the tank from me and then show me what I just showed you in terms of like when you remove the mascara wand.
Big dollop.
You see that big dollop, right? Show one more time to the camera. You can see it right there. I'm gonna put my hand in front.
Star on top of the Christmas tree.
Exactly, and we don't want that on
No.
our eye. So we want to get rid of that. Okay. Perfect. You're such a good student.
Thanks.
And I'll take that from you so you can concentrate a little bit more. There we go. Now you're really going to get it exactly. You're going to get it as close to the roots of your lash as possible, then wiggle it back and forth. There you go. You're doing perfect. You're not shy about mascara, huh? This is one thing you got going.
I think
you got
so.
it.
I'm gonna just
Go ahead. Go ahead. Here. Uh-oh, we found her happy place.
Yeah, I like doing my eyelashes. I love doing the
And you could do a little mascara on the lower lash line too if you. Makes my job easier. Go for it. Oh, do you not usually put mascara?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish
I'm
your.
gonna try and then I'll. Okay. This is how I would do it, and you can tell me if it's.
No, you're good. You're separating.
Is that correct?
Yep, you're
That was
good.
total guess.
Yes, good. And just to add to that, go ahead and hold the mirror. Just to add to that, you can keep your eye open a little bit. Here, hold up higher. There we go. I'll just do a quick little like tickle of the lower lashes. I try not to go too far back because otherwise you're going to create a mess. You just want to do a little bit of mascara on the lower lashes to help complete the look. Now look up for me. I know you can't see this, but I'm using my wand vertically and I'm just coming down the lash this way. Yes, my wand. Look up again. Just like that. This gives you a little bit more depth to those lower lashes.
Kind of exactly what you did at the top too with highlighting this.
Yeah, it's kind of like whatever works, but your first coat, you want to make sure that you're separating the lash. Let that dry, and then you can go in and you can add more coats, and your lash will remain separated. If you kind of clump it on right out of the gates, you're not going to have the easiest time separating your lash. Yeah, no. Bring it down. There you go, there you go. Oh, nice. Hit my side again. Don't poke yourself.
Stab.
One of the pleasures of being in the downtown LA studio is the noises that come in from outside.
Creates atmosphere.
It does.
Live from
Well,
LA.
you lived in New York, right? Like we did,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier. Luca lived in New York,
To
and
NYU.
so
Lots of loud college kids in the dorm. And
So
then
nothing
cityscape
compares to that
too. Yeah.
whole scene there. All right, so I'm loving your eyes. I don't know how you're feeling about it. Take a
Me
look. Let me
too.
know.
Yeah, this is definitely the most I've ever done on my eyes, and I'm excited to recreate it.
So here's the concealer brush one more time. Let's just for the sake of making sure that we have a nice bright under eye, I'm just patting the concealer on just to clean up any fallout. Then I'm using the tip of my ring finger. Your ring finger is the weakest finger on your hand, so it's going to apply just a gentle amount of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side. And I'm just patting the product onto the skin. I'm not brushing it. Using my ring finger again just to pat and distribute.
I also love how you're not pulling, it's just really gentle pressing.
You know, we were talking in the beginning of the video about, you know, we're getting older, and patting, learning how to pat rather than pulling or tugging at the skin is really important, because imagine how often we're pulling and tugging over the years. So if you can prevent as much of that as possible, we're going to age more gracefully. So for your complexion, to just kind of bring some
Life.
some life, to give us a
Maybe
healthy
look more
glow.
alive.
This is my go-to product. So I love my bronze and sculpt powder. It's called Pyramid Bronze. It's like the little pyramids there. I am an ancient alien theorist, so I had to like incorporate that idea. The pyramids kind of speak to that for me. So anyway, I don't know if you wanted to hear that. Maybe TMI, but you know
my
a little
dad
more
can
about me.
conspiracize.
Oh, really?
whatever.
All right, yeah. Get down on the phone right now.
Conspire.
So do you remember the eye contour brush? How it had a slant?
Yes.
So this is the mega version of that.
Okay.
This is your contour brush that we're going to use for contouring the cheeks, along the temples of the face, sometimes along the jaw if we need it. What my mission is that I want to just kind of bring a little warmth to your face. And for that, there are 5 shades in here. I'm just going to mix them all up. Now, I'm not going to worry about just using the tip of the brush. I'm literally just putting that flat part of the brush against the shades, and I'm just circling them around. So I'm essentially just mixing all of those shades together.
Okay.
So now I'm going to make sure that I turn my brush upside down. So the logo on my brush, the logo should be facing you when you're contouring your cheeks. So I'm going to have you turn this way, and I'm going to put the tip of the brush here, like right under
The bone.
your cheekbone. Do you want to watch one more time? So I'm just going to go over what I did. So using the tip of the brush, so that's underneath the cheekbone. Now in the temple, just a little bit here, the temple of the forehead. Or is it the temple of the eye? There you go. And then using the tip of the brush again, just across the hairline. Our hair usually drops a nice subtle shadow, so we just want to enhance that little bit of shadow along the hairline.
Why? What does that do?
Well, it's going to accentuate the brightness of your forehead. So it's just really going to mimic like if you were out in the sunlight, where the sun would naturally
Spotlight.
kiss your forehead, and it would give you a little bit of bronzed action there. So we're just, foundation zaps our complexion out. So it turns us all one color. So this is helping us bring back some of the tone. And then turn this way. Now I'm turning my brush. So I'm using the full brush to go along your jawbone, and just a little bit down the neck. Just a little bit, like kind of like the excess that was in the brush. And that's going to help us blend into your neckline. Are you ready to take a shot for yourself?
Yes.
All right. So there's the contour brush and the
Get
Pyramid
it all
bronze.
over.
Yep. Now each of those shades, just so you know, to fill your ears with stuff as you work there. There's 5 shades in this palette, and you can use each one of those shades to do an eye look if you ever wanted to kind of get creative there as well. So this is one of the reasons I love the bronzer is it's the one thing that I take with me when I go on trips.
Yeah, because then you take one and then you have.
I have my eyeshadow, I have my
Eyes.
bronzer, I have my cheeks. Yep, I have everything. How you doing?
I think I went a little bigger than yours.
You did. So let me just show you first, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But remember, the first thing I did was I used the tip
Tip.
of the brush there.
Forgot
But
about
that's
that.
okay. It's okay. Continue, but even me out. So do what you did on that side to this side. I like it. It was a happy accident. Okay, go for it.
I think a lot of this is like, what's my habits, and then
Yep.
correcting them.
Put a little tiny bit in your temple, just soft, not too hard there. You can almost see the natural shadow if you look at yourself in the mirror. You can see a natural shadow happening right there. So all you want to do is you really want to just accentuate that with your bronzer. And for that, you just go sweep across the hairline
Oh, right. With the full brush.
with the tip. Yeah.
With the tip.
Just the tip there, yep. Yep. Now you can place the whole bottom of the brush, not the bottom, but the
Full
full
face.
full part of the brush along your jawline. Hold your earrings.
Sans earring.
Yeah. And then whatever's left on the brush, you go down the outer portion of your neck, just to kind of blend your complexion into your neck. All right, now take a look at the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Flirt with yourself. What do you think? Nice and even?
Yeah, I think it goes together.
All right, so now that you've done that, I am going to use a little cheek color. This cheek color is called Side Street Blossom. Kind of a fun little name.
Yeah.
And I'll swatch it for everybody there. All right. Little warm, little sunny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to get some of that product off of it. There's not much on it. And now I'm going to just sweep across. A little bit more on the tip of the brush there. Yep. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I was going in.
Yeah, not yet.
Not
Take
yet.
it easy. Take it easy. All right. Getting rid of all the excess.
Mhm.
And so now you're going to smile at yourself or smirk. Okay, so when you're applying cheek color, you want to apply it on the apples of your cheek. So go ahead and look in the mirror. This is the apple of your cheek.
Mhm.
A lot of times when we start talking cheek color, we mistake this entire area for the cheek. We really want to stick to the apple of the cheek. And I'm just going to brush ever so gently the tip of the brush onto smile for me. You'll see. There we go. Find the apples of the cheeks. And once you get a nice little punch of color on the apple of the cheek, then you can brush gently back,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you a really nice application of cheek color. All right, I'm going to let you load the brush. There we go. Yep. There you go. Yeah, there's quite a bit in there, so there you go. Now you're going to turn the brush. You're going to use the tips, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to smile at yourself, and you're going to almost just ever so gently touch the cheeks. Brush it away from yourself. So go. Yeah, sound effects and everything. Go for it.
Alone in my bedroom.
Yeah, I know. Like, what are you doing in there? Yep.
They match.
A little bit more like right under this area. She likes the swishing. What do you think? Keep watching. I'm going to show you just a little bit more. So you just go up the apple of the cheek ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Now I think we're more on the even. Apples to apples, get it?
Yeah.
Haha. Okay, so for lips, I have two options. I originally wanted to, this is one of my newer products. This one's called the Big Tease. That's the shade. I named it after myself. Haha. Wow, I'm getting punchy now, huh?
No, I love
Okay, so this is Twisted Kisses, and the shade is the Big Tease. I don't know how you feel about a deeper.
Yeah, hook me up because I have baby lips, so try to do a lot of lip color or so that's good.
What's nice when you have a thinner lip, it's nice to use matte formulas because matte formulas will stay in place.
Okay.
I do have a lip color, another lip color that I pulled aside for you just in case. This one is Innuendo. It is my go-to color. I love it. But it has a nice earth tone, but a soft peachiness to it. So they're both earth tones. One's light and one's dark.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is this is a more traditional lipstick. So you can see that it has a little bit of a glossy effect to it. So when you have a thinner lip, that glossiness, it's going to be difficult to keep it in place, right? Especially when we're trying to enhance the lips to make them look a little bit fuller.
Right.
So for your purpose, I think we should go with the Twisted Kisses matte lip pencil. And I'm going to first use my retractable lip brush. Look how cool this is. So this is how the lip brush comes. It's just like that with the lid on it.
Uh-huh.
And then when you take the lid off, you place it on the bottom and the lip brush pops up.
Ooh.
The reason I love that is when let's say you're going out and you don't have a purse, you don't want to carry a purse, or maybe your purse is like that big, not enough room to put a whole bunch of stuff in. So I will load the brush with product and then I'll just close it up. And when you go out and you're ready to reapply, all you have to do is put the cap back on the bottom of the pencil and then you just reapply.
Uh-huh.
So just a fun little tip there. All right, so now I have the brush loaded and I'm going to use the edge of the brush to create a liner effect first. And I love this brush because the stiffness of the brush head really gives you the ability to use the edge of the brush as a liner. And for a matte lip color, this is nice and creamy. And it should feel nice and comfortable too. And just take your time with your lip application. And you can, apply it straight out of the tube, but I do like to do my first application using a brush. It just gives me a little more precision. Okay. I'm gonna load the brush again, and we'll go over it directly with the actual product itself.
Mm-hmm. But the brush does give you more control, right, where you're placing it?
It does, absolutely. Okay, now for the upper lip line. So if you take a close look at your upper lip line, there is like
Where is it?
There's stop.
I'm kidding.
There's a little halo effect. So we all have like a little white kind of edge around the pink of our lip. So that's what we're gonna use as a guide for how much further above your actual lip color we're gonna go. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It tickles.
It's okay. A gentle touch. That's, I always say, like, just tickle your skin with the brush. Okay, so dare I ask, are you ready? You're going to try it? So I did your full lower lip, which is easy because you have that nice fullness there. And we're trying to accentuate your upper lip by making it a little fuller. And so I showed you, gave you some mental tips and visual cues for achieving a fuller upper lip. So you're going to try to do the same thing. Shall I hold for you?
So finding the halo.
Yep.
I'm going to go really slow.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time. So the halo again, I refer to the halo, the lighter part right above the pink of your lip or the color of your lip. Right above that, there's an area that's just brighter. And I use that as my indicator as to how far I draw outside the natural lip line. How do you like the brush?
I love it. I feel so much control. Like I feel like exactly where I want to place the color is where it's going.
It helps. It helps a lot. I've always, like I said before, I always use a brush for my first application, and then after that you can just lather it on directly out of the tube.
Did I go
Nice
a little
job.
crazy?
Nice
Or is
job.
it- yeah.
I would go one more time, but you try to use a complete stroke from one side to the end, so you just get a smooth line all the way across. Did you see how that? You're good. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to hand you the actual product itself, and you're just going to do a clean sweep across the lower lip as well.
One stroke.
Yeah, one or two. You know, it doesn't have to be one, but just fill it in. Give it a nice coat of color. You're okay. What are you doing? Are you eating my
Definitely.
lipstick? That's all right. That's okay.
Tastes great.
Wonderful. That's always a plus. Okay, and then the top as well. Just take your time. You don't want to ruin what you just did. Perfect. All right. You're good, good, good. Nice job. You got this. As a whole, how do you feel about the look that we've kind of conjured up for you today?
Well, I learned a lot, and I feel really excited because I could totally wear this in the daytime for like brunch, lunch.
Do you feel made
But
up?
also, yeah, and also I feel like fancy enough to go out late.
Yeah, and I
dancing.
keep pulling your hair back because I think that the way you have it done here is perfect for this look. You can cinch it off with a tie. This, you know, you can pull it up to make it a little bit more
To
fun.
really feature the.
Yeah, and it just gives
makeup.
you like it speaks to the nature of the Luxe Light palette. The Luxe Light palette was to, you know, just kind of beautify you, to really kind of help accentuate the light from within. And I think that's what we've captured with the look that we created on you today. So I would love to hear what all of you have to say about the look that I've created here on Luca today. Make sure you leave me your comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Sign up for notifications so you know whenever I post a new video. And all of the products that I used, I'll also list those in the comments. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.